Welcome to my Theories and Speculations video about Episode 6 from Apple's new show, Pluribus. If you haven't seen the show yet, please do watch it. Be warned, there are spoilers ahead. Carol is not safe. In Episode 6, Kumba told Carol that the hive had found a way to convert the immune people, but the solution would require the hive to have stem cells from each person. Stem cells can be extracted by an invasive procedure to which each person would have to give consent. Carol quickly made clear that she will not give consent to such a procedure, which the hive confirms. So everything seems a-okay for Carol, right? Nope. Remember the backflash to Carol and Helen's vacation in Norway in Episode 3? Carol briefly states,
"We are sleeping on an ice bed. I could have saved that $100,000 and frozen my eggs right here, yolks and all."
So there are cryogenic stored egg cells from Carol in some facility, and the hive definitely knows about them because the hive has the knowledge of every assimilated human. But an egg cell is not a stem cell, right? Yes and no, because there is a well-known procedure called parthenogenetic activation of human egg cells, which can be used to develop those cells into patient-specific pluripotent stem cells, so-called PESCs. Or in short, the hive has what it needs to convert Carol. I wonder when Carol will start to realize that. 2. Violence will happen. Speaking about Carol's meeting with Kumba, yes, we all can relate to him living the dream, and he seems comforting to Carol, which makes him somewhat likable. I could be wrong here, but my senses tell me that as soon as Carol and Manusas will come close to end the hive, and thereby threaten Kumba's life and luxury, he will become a threat to them. There is a lot of foreshadowing in this direction. Zosha specifically warned Carol that they can't protect her from the other non-joined people.
We can't really protect you from one another.
Remember the intense scene where Carol asked the hive about the almost 900 million victims of the joining? The mood on the whole table changed, but Kumba is more concerned about his meat consumption and happily offers to do the killing part for the hive. Not only does he show little regard to the number of victims, changing the subject to his desires, he also framed it with offering to kill, and not a more appropriate wording like to butcher. He also does the throat slit gesture. Come on. And the freaked out look on his face in the moment Carol entertains the idea to stay in Vegas, which would prevent the hive to return. Come on, look at his face. Just look. Kumba is basically hooked to the hive pampering him. If you threaten a person to take most of his wealth and status away, consent and submission rarely is the outcome. Also, he is using a metal spatula in a Teflon-coated pan, which proves that he is a monster. Another hint at violence is Manusas packing what seems to be a machete. I see a clash coming between those two, probably with Manusas saving Carol from Kumba. 3. What the heck is wrong with the hive? John Cena happily explains that the hive is an ethical fruitarian organization, and yes, that form of veganism, where even plants can't be harmed, does exist in real life. But let's take a step back. I think we all have the same questions regarding the hive since Episode 1. What is the long game here? Vince Gilligan already told us that he wanted to flip every typical sci-fi theme upside down with this show. Alien invasions usually start with the arrival of ships or a silent infiltration followed by an uprising. It involves a lot of fighting and destroying cities and parts of the planet's environment. So far, nothing of that sort. Basically, all of mankind is already turned, but not to the violent foot soldier kind, but to something like pacifist environmental misanthropists, which means that they try to minimize the impact of human actions to the environment to a point where it is really harmful to themselves. Maybe they are even antinatalists, which means that they refuse to have babies, or at least try to shrink humanity by drastically limiting procreation. So let's get that straight. Hive humanity probably won't die out completely. A minimal population should be maintainable by efficiently harvesting any windfall fruits and animal corpses which died of natural causes. There might even be a way to save the whole hive by creating food from dead matter like fossil fuels, which also could be synthesized. If you want to see a deep dive about that, please leave a comment. But what is the long goal of the hive? There are speculations that the virus only cares about keeping the hosts alive long enough to spread to other planets. Therefore, it would be okay if the hosts die after building and using an antenna the size of Africa. Maybe we will soon see a project like that being started. While that is one possible outcome, it does not answer the questions about the creators of the virus and why it was created. One theory could be environmentalist aliens wanting to spread their ethics. If humanity already had an ethic to not interfere with life, the virus would never have been implanted in rats. So the virus could be a way to force environmentalist ethics to other intelligent life forms, which don't follow them already, and therefore are possibly a danger to their habitat. Another, more sinister, well, it's already sinister in my opinion, explanation would be a pre-colonization protocol from aliens, aiming to create a servant civilization which always obeys and has minimal impact on the planet. That would mean that alien colonization ships could be on their way to Earth. What do you think? Does anything of that make sense to you? Did I forget something? Anything you want me to discuss next? Please leave a comment and hit the subscribe button.